In the heart of the broad Pacific lies an area called Polynesia. These bits of land were discovered by courageous, intelligent people who were seeking a new home. And their descendants were to Polynesia Islands, seen times for generations. Always moved on toward the rising sun, to them a symbol of life and hope. And finally, they reached their goal. They found the homeland they sought. One island group claimed by these mariners was named Sacred Center, or in their language, Samoa. And this is the place of our story. These high volcanic islands offered the voyagers everything they needed. All they had dreamed of a perfect land, gentle climate, rich soil, and mountain peaks that drain passing clouds to fill streams with an abundance of pure water. Here in the little villages along the fertile shores, the descendants of the early navigators live to this day, and these are the people of our story. Providing for their simple needs occupies only part of their time, and knowing that boredom could disrupt even paradise, Samoans have developed elaborate customs and ceremonies to make their tranquil existence more exciting. Here, in a yellow lava is the most honored maiden of the village, the Taupo, appointed by the high chief to act as a ceremonial hostess. As Taupo, she does no hard work and is given a special companion and a chaperone who escorts her even to the bathing pool. Early morning finds almost everyone else busy gathering to make it fall at just the right stage of ripeness. A more direct method is best for picking bananas. Sections of the rainforest covering the mountainsides are for cultivating taro, the Polynesian staff of life. The coconut palm supplies a wide range of daily needs. If one wants a drink of coconut milk, all he has to do is pick a young nut. A foot loop isn't essential, but it does make the climb faster and safer. Oftentimes, nature's tools are not only best, but handiest. Most mature nuts are made into copra, which is dehydrated coconut meat, the island's principal export. The husk is saved for such uses as fuel or twine. Making copra is a job for the whole family. Neighbors often drop in to help, and then it becomes a social affair. The children do their part when it's time to spread the coconut to dry in the sun. Tropical squalls with strong winds and heavy rain are welcome because they cool the air and settle the dust. The neatly spread copra has to be gathered up to keep it from rotting. The stalwart sentinel decides to call it a day and homeward plods his weary way. The happy life of Samoan villages is not without plan. Each family chooses its own chief who represents it in the village pono, and everything relating to common interest is discussed in these council meetings. Mali O'o is high chief. Like the others, he can talk business and make senate at the same time. Senate is an all-purpose cord made from the coconut husk. This ornate tattooing, by the way, is considered a mark of great courage. The phono begins with the ceremony of mixing and drinking kava, a non-alcoholic beverage. Powdered kava root is dissolved in water, and any particles that remain are removed with a fiber strainer. Young men gather outside to hear the speeches, and they follow every detail of the ceremony. They watch to see that the taupo doesn't turn her head when she throws the strainer over her shoulder, and that the person who shakes out the root particles doesn't let it fall. If he does, one of them will be appointed to take his place. When all undissolved pieces of root have been removed, the kava is diluted and tested to be sure it's the right strength. The master of protocol announces kava is ready. The chiefs are served in order of their rank. Before drinking, a toast. To the happiness of Samoa and its people. Each chief's title is announced before he's served. When everyone has had kava, Mali O'o asks the scribe to read the first subject to be debated. Mali O'o wants to build a falitele, a ceremonial guest house. Since he is high chief, it must be an elaborate one in keeping with his rank. Some of the council object. They say it will mean much work for the village. But the orators, the only chiefs entitled to carry a fly whisk, support Mali O'o, and in the end all agree that the high chief may have his guest house. Sometimes requests are made in song. And now a group waylays the chiefs to describe a beautiful school. To put the chiefs in good humor, the boys perform a comedy about the ordeal of tattooing. The victim has asked his best friend to keep him from running away if the pain becomes unbearable, and now wails that even his bosom pal has become his enemy. The chiefs are amused at the exaggerated tattoo skit, but not the uninitiated. The customary one hot meal of the day is prepared late in the morning. Of course, making a fire is the first requisite. And you're never too young to learn what to do and how to do it if no important... This may look complicated, but flame can be produced in less than a minute. A simple ground oven is arranged to cook the midday meal. For an extra hot fire, forced draft. And then stones are piled on top to heat. Coconut sauce is given a special flavor by putting a hot rock in with the mixture. Cooking is considered too important to be trusted to women. And one qualification of a good husband is knowing how to prepare fish so it won't dry out in the oven. He should also be able to make a tasty palusami, which is coconut sauce poured into taro leaves and steamed until the liquid sets like custard. Just the right amount of sauce must be used, and each bundle securely fastened with a stem. By the time the food is ready for the oven, the stones are white hot. Taro and breadfruit are put directly on the leveled rocks, while behind the scenes, the cleanup job gets underway. With fresh baskets ready to carry the food, the chefs can relax until the oven stops steaming. Chief Malio'o, making his round, takes in the situation. Having once been a boy himself, he knows exactly where to look for the truants. The boys scramble for the bush, all but Tuninga, who didn't see Malio'o coming. He runs downstream. But what a downstream this is. So much for downstream. Now, what about upstream? Chief Malio'o has always taught his people first work, then pleasure. But now it seems they need another lesson. In Samoa, work is allotted according to sex, but there's always the exception. Tuninga has no sisters, so he's expected to do chores normally given to girls. Some of them are downright offensive to his masculine pride, but he does his best. The ironing neatly folded, or at least folded, a fast game with the boys should restore Toninga's spirits. But no, now we must take care of the baby, another girl's job. One game after another, and Toninga still stands on the sidelines with the girls. It's more than he can take. There's a time-honored custom here by which a child who is unhappy in his own home may take his personal possessions and move to the house of relatives, where he's always welcome. But it's really little more than changing from one bedroom to another, because the whole village lives almost like one big family, and a little girl with too many sisters will probably move in to take Toninga's place. It's as simple as that. Samoan women do their fishing in shallow water, but prove their courage nonetheless. They wash the octopus tentacles to remove all sand. And there's no trouble carrying the creature home. You just wear it like a corsage. Using a barbless spear, an umbrella rib if you've nothing better, and a slingshot is a modern improvement over the old method of fishing with bow and arrow, and a very efficient one. A heavy spear is efficient only in the hands of an expert, so it's a good idea to begin practicing with a small one. Of course, there's always a chance of becoming a small expert, specializing in small fish. Trolling in groups brings in a fine haul when schools of small fish come into the lagoon. One of the more daring sportsmen of the village is Vídeo. He goes outside the reef to search for the big fish that prefer rough water. Sudden wind squalls are a threat to fishermen caught outside the reef. Fortunately, there's a witness, and he realizes that Vídeo faces danger. The rising tide and the waves will soon drive him from his temporary haven. A rescue canoe heads into the breakers. It was a close call for Vídeo, and yet this is all part of the islanders' way of life, a continuing battle of man against the sea. The next morning finds Vídeo hard at work replacing his wrecked canoe. It's a big project, but he has the help of all the family members, both large and small. Some of the carpentry is done right where the tree falls. The log is roughly shaped and partly hollowed to lighten its weight. Judge the depth of timber by sound and know just how much wood to remove. The apprentice lets the chips fall where they may. A dugout canoe, an outrigger must be added to keep it from tipping over in rough water. The braces are tied together with sennet, measured by a man's arm span and cut by biting. Admittedly, there's a difference in length of arm and strength of bite. Now, with everything shipshape, the maiden voyage. Gave him a favorable decision. Malio'o can think of nothing but his guest house. After spending days, he's chosen a tall, straight tree for the center post of the falitele. There's great excitement when the log is dragged into the village to the accompaniment of a chant. Neither plumb line nor level is used by the skillful artisans. The head carpenter merely signals his directions for bringing the post to a true vertical. Rafters are made of flexible coconut wood because the roof will be bulged. And again, the amount of bulge is gauged by eye. Miles and miles of sennet will be used instead of nails. Arches for the rounded ends of the building are sections of breadfruit wood. The carpenters are given every consideration. And when a man is found asleep on the job, Malio'o thoughtfully provides a shelter. From now on, his workers may rest in the shade. The height of a falitele's roof depends upon the owner's rank. High chief, high roof. Women have an active part in the work too. They make the roof thatching and also the mats to be used for floor covering and for beds. The thatch is made of sugarcane leaves, overlapped like shingles to form a watertight roof that will last for years. Women also gather material for the floor, small stones that have been smoothed by the sea. These pebbles spread in a deep layer, a sort of cushion for the mats. Now the falitele is finished, and Malio'o and his wife proudly welcome the chiefs who come to make inspection. This is the first in a whole series of housewarming festivities. The final celebration is an informal evening get-together called a fia-fia. It features the siva, a dance without form or pattern. The first few dances are merely a warm-up. Now the chiefs request an old song, and their generation takes over. The climax of the evening begins with a solo by the Taupo. Because of the dignity of her position, she's expected to siva as though no one else were present. But it's part of the fun to distract her. Happy people, an island paradise. This is our story of Samoa, a sacred center in Polynesia, the place of many islands.